Right, there's a bit of a debate in a minute about skill-based matchmaking and whether or not it should be in a Call of Duty environment. So I'm just going to discuss this video, my thoughts on it, and whether or not it should be in Call of Duty. Well, first of all, skill-based matchmaking is an attempt by Treyarch to make the playing field much more level. So what it does is, you're given a score per minute. That's the average that you make per minute in a Call of Duty setting, whatever you're playing. So it adds all your points up from capturing flags, from whatever, from killing, etc. And it gives you an average points per minute ratio. And that ratio is used to determine your skill level, and you'll be placed against other players with a similar score per minute ratio. And so in theory, if you're a bad player with a low KD and a low score per minute ratio, you're going to be going against players with a similar ratio. But the problem is, that might sound fine in theory, but there's a few problems with that. One is just the fact, why should I always go against players that have a similar score per minute than me? Why should I always go against them? I mean, if I'm good at football or if I'm good at squash, I don't want to constantly play people that are as good as me. I want to play people that are not as good. If I play on a ladder, I'm going to be playing people at the bottom of the ladder and at the top. I don't always want to play against people who are the same skill level as me. That's even if the score per minute ratio really does reflect your real skill level, which is debatable in and itself. In reality, it actually doesn't, but I'll go into that maybe later on. But secondly, there's another problem with this, and that is the fact that currently the way it works out your skill level, or the way it sets up the lobbies based upon the skill level, it doesn't take into account that you're playing on your own. That is a crucial point that needs to be made. It's not fair that even if I have a high score per minute, or points per minute, whatever it is, let's say it was over 300. If I play on my own a lot more, I shouldn't be playing against party after party after party in TDM or kill confirmed or domination. That's not fair, because playing in a party gives you such a big advantage that it doesn't really matter what score per minute you have. If you're going up against parties in a Call of Duty environment, you can't win the same, especially not in Black Ops 2. You just can't. It's too difficult. They can use call-outs, they can use all kinds of stuff. They can communicate with each other, they can do so much more than just having atomized random people who are playing on their own. I mean, it's just totally different. I mean, yes, in other Call of Duties, right, like in Modern Warfare 2 or in COD 4 maybe, or in other Call of Duties, it is possible that two excellent players can beat a party. Two excellent players and a bunch of BK Randys can go up against 6 players in TDM and they can destroy them still, because the games were much more balanced in many respects. Because like I said, balance means that a good player can do excellent. If you're really good at chess, you should constantly be able to beat people. If you're really good at squash, you should constantly be able to beat people that are not as good at you at squash. That's how a Call of Duty environment should be. But in Black Ops 2 at the minute, because there's no sound, and because, well, there's no enemy sound, and because the lag compensation is so bad, and the maps are designed in such a way, what it does is it skill equalizes everything. So in this type of environment, because everything's skill equalized, it's very difficult to do really well. And when you're up against party after party, it's just horrendous. It's not fun at all. But in other Call of Duties, where you did have the sound advantage, where you could hear footsteps, etc., where the hit detection and lag were 10 times better, then yes, and the maps were 10 times better, etc., then yes, in those environments, you can do well, and 2 players, or even 1 player, a really good player, could beat a team of half-decent players. They could, because they could get the kill streaks up and then they can dominate still, because that's what the Call of Duty environment used to be. If you was a good player, you could excel and you could beat everyone. That's how it should be. But like I said, in this game, you can't do that. So the way that the system sets up lobbies, it really does. It should make it so that you don't go up against parties all the time. It's ridiculous at the minute. It's totally ridiculous. If I go into domination, half the time I'm up against a 3rd prestige full lobby of a full party of people. It's just ridiculous and it's too hard. I can't enjoy it. It feels like you have to play in a party to do well. And if you look on YouTube, look at all the directors that are doing well on this game. They all play in a party, every one of them almost. It's just that's how difficult the game is. So yeah, the system has to take into account, and that's more important than the score per minute, than setting people up with a similar score per minute ratio. The fact that they play in parties or not, that is more important. And it's not. And there's another problem as well. Anyone who's played Call of Duty will know that if you're constantly going up against higher ranked or higher score per minute ratio players, they are going to be better in general than people with lower score per minute ratios, but they're going to be using the cheaper perks, and they're going to know all the head glitch spots, and they're going to know all the traffic routes, and they're going to know. So it's not fun. It really isn't. It should be an option, or it should be a different playlist. Well, that's why they had a league play. So in Black Ops now, you can go and play league play, and you're supposed to play, you know, against really competitively, so-called. But if you want to do that, fine, go and do that. But most people just want to pub stomp, and they don't want to play against team after team all the time. You need some variety. So just to be totally clear, this is what I think they should do. I think they should actually remove skill-based matchmaking the way it is now from Black Ops 2 and leave that to the league play. Put it back to whatever you had it in Black Ops 1 or Modern Warfare 2 or any other Call of Duty. Just take it out. It's not fun. It's not going to make people better. It doesn't make the playing field necessarily any fairer, especially because it doesn't take into account parties versus single players. Right, it's been true saying.